hopefully there's going to be, in the new year, I promise you, there'll be some cool announcement that actually they'll lock it all in, and you guys can go, we can all go and sort of go. Is that we're going to have a hard date, so that'll be exciting, and everyone will be able to, you know, clear their calendars, you know, whatever it is they're going to do, buy a bigger TV. I don't know what you're going to do.
All those things.
These are all the things you gotta, you know, just take off work. I don't know. You'll have time to like get ready, because you're going to want to stay probably a couple days with it, you know, and not leave the house, you know, and just kind of hunker down and watch it over and over. So there's that.
A big trailer coming too, right?
And then after that, shortly after that, you'll get the big final trailer. It'll be the, like, you know, the final, turn the hype engine to 11 and have everyone just lose their minds. Hopefully.
How many trailers do you think you'll have in total, since it's close?
I think it's only the next big one we'll have, and that will be, and then there'll probably be like some TV ads and stuff, you know.
Oh, okay, like the little trickle of like a couple little things, but there's like only one more trailer coming.
I think one more big trailer, and then it's time.
Oh, that's exciting. That's very cool.
The journey in our movies, really, she's kind of the glue, a lot of the glue that holds kind of the team together, and she's the reassurance. She's she is the dose of love that everyone kind of needs. I think she has a line with where she's talking to Aquaman, where she says, like, you know, where he's kind of he has a slight, you know, sort of malice toward his people, and he's talking about it, and she says, you know, of course, things like, you know, hate is useless, you know, and he's like, maybe.
That's also very timely.
But I feel like that's her kind of mantra throughout the film, is just like, you know, saying things to Victor about, like, you know, that the world needs his gifts, you know.
You know, come to think of it, there is a lot of hate in the Justice League.
So it appears Zack Snyder's been doing the rounds again, and he appeared on my good friend Grace Randolph from Beyond the Trailers YouTube channel again, and he had some truth bombs to say what was coming up in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and an overall kind of catch up with Grace, letting the fans know exactly what is going on with the Zack Snyder's Justice League. Why does Zack decide to do it on Grace's channel? Because they're best friends. No, they're not best friends, guys, because she's close to 1 million subscribers and she's got the biggest platform in this kind of community, so to speak. So yo, what is good, YouTube? Warstu here with a video on the Justice League Snyder Cut, or now it's actually not officially yet called it, but it will be called the Zack Snyder's Justice League. So Zack Snyder dropped some massive truth bombs, and he's been saying a lot of stuff on other people's YouTube channels and websites, etc. So Zack Snyder says in the next coming weeks there will be a hard release date for Zack Snyder's Justice League release. As we know, it's coming sometime in March. There's no exact release date. Some people were saying the 17th, me, some people saying the 25th, other people, but we don't actually know. And he says there will be one big final trailer that would turn the hype train to 11, which is pretty cool. As we know, there hasn't really been much official marketing that's got AT&T's money behind it, with the YouTube adverts and commercials and TVs. But as you know, Zack and Deborah Snyder come from advertising and marketing, so you know the marketing for this Snyder Cut is gonna be absolutely on point. So we know officially from Zack Snyder himself, full credit to Grace Randolph Beyond the Trailer, he said there will be one huge massive trailer, because you know we're already nearly in January, the movie's coming out in March, so they realistically won't have any more trailers other than this huge trailer and a few tidbit trailers for commercials and TVs like they always do. But he also said, I will put this in a clip at the start of the video, Zack Snyder says that Wonder Woman is the glue that holds the Justice League together, and she gives them the dose of love that everybody needs. And that's a sentiment that everyone needs in real life at the moment. If you haven't already caught Wonder Woman 1984, I think you should go to the cinema and watch it if you can. Otherwise, watch it on HBO Max. But if you live in the UK, it's coming on VOD in the middle of January. So that is pretty cool. So the hype train is going full speed towards the Snyder Cut, aka Zack Snyder's Justice League. Also, something that came out quite recently is director Zack Snyder explains why Marvel Studios' approach to decided to kind of embrace their personalities. I think that there was always this sort of criticism and or in the middle step, trying to be like Marvel, trying to do your own thing. And I think the problem is Warner Bros, they got involved with the Suicide Squad. They got involved with Wonder Woman 1. As we know, Patty Jenkins recently came out and said, "We're going to do." But I think now it's kind of locked into this very specific trajectory where I think and hope the idea that it's a filmmaking first, which is basically what the multiverse allows for, filmmaking first, then here's the characters, bringing the characters together. Now that is interesting because obviously Warner Bros, the biggest problem I have given to it, even when I was doing Batman versus Superman, Man of Steel and Justice League, there were DC animated films that had nothing to do with what we were doing, and there were DC TV shows that had nothing to do with what we were doing, and there was no way to seam these up without alienating a giant fandom by saying your Flash doesn't count and your animated doesn't count, anything like that. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if you watched it. It was a crossover called Crisis on Infinite Earth where both Barry Allens met each other. Grant Gustin, the Flash from the Flash TV show, met Ezra Miller's version of the Flash in that massive crossover. So yeah, they are kind of together now. And then Zack Snyder went on to say, I think that Marvel, they've built their universe over a long period of time. So by the time they got to their later movies, everything had kind of locked in and it was all the sort of moving in the same direction. But that was just never going to happen with DC because DC TV shows were so popular and because the animated shows were so popular. I mean, that was a success that they had, and Christopher Nolan's movies sort of had another tone and other universes, so there was no way that those sort of things were going to be like, okay, we're going to say that those things don't exist now and that's it. And I think the way they're forward thinking for a while, but I'm glad that it's kind of settled into a more diverse approach, which I kind of disagree with some things that Zach says, but I agree with other things. I do think it makes more sense for DC just to open up the multiverse, and then we can have obviously Robert Pattinson Batman in one version, have Batfleck back in another version with the HBO Max series, and have all these other universes, and even having like the DC TV shows, like with, I know Supergirl's been like not cancelled, but it's coming to an end after the next season, and Arrow's just ended in the Stargirl. Having all these conjunctional universes make the multiverse, so if you wanted, say, Stargirl to randomly appear, for example, somewhere, then realistically she could, and it wouldn't be a massive problem because you could just explain it via the multiverse. So they need to hurry up and get this Flash movie out. But the plan is awesome. I know a lot more about this Zack Snyder's Justice League than I can say, but it's all going to make sense when you watch this movie in March. Hopefully in the big screen on IMAX. They are planning to release it on IMAX because of that 4:3:1 ratio, but only apparently in IMAXs. Now, from what I'm hearing, it's no longer an episodic release. Apparently, because they're doing this special IMAX release with HBO Max, it's just going to be a 4-hour movie instead, which I think works a lot better. It might not work a lot better for HBO Max subscription services, but if Warner Bros are sticking every single theatrical release on there, which is causing massive problems with Godzilla vs. Kong, Legendary wants $250 million in order to put it on there because obviously they're going to lose money by not going to theaters, and the same with Dune. I think realistically then they should have enough content to actually keep the service going, so to speak. But from what we're hearing behind the scenes, and what I can't actually say on the channel, and notes there will be a scene where Batman drops the F-bomb, but from what I've been told personally about what actually happens in this movie, it's gonna be freaking insane. And also recently, Amber Heard came out with information of what happened on additional photography. She said, I'm super excited about it. We just wrapped on reshoots, and I love nerds. I love nerds, excuse my language, Amber Heard told comicbook.com. He's a perfect example. Zack Snyder is a perfect example of a nerd. Heard said, you know what, I got into this project on the stand because of another true diehard nerd, which is Josh Boone, who connects all of us on this project, as he was adopting the book of Stephen King, and I think it's just a good rule of thumb, especially in this genre. So Amber Heard is super keen. It seems like her scene is linked to the Nightmare question. I didn't just say that. Yeah, her scene's linked to the Nightmare scene, which is very interesting. And also people keep going, is there going to be a post-credit scene for the Snyder Cut? No, there's not a post-credit scene, but it ends in a way that will actually complete it. So Zack Snyder recently came out, and so when someone asks and says, will there be a post-credit scene, and he just said no, because the story is going to complete the story in some kind of factual sense to the point where you'll understand exactly what I mean when you actually see it. So it is cool. I really can't wait for you guys to watch the Snyder Cut. I'm talking like I've already seen it, but I haven't. I've just heard a lot of things behind the scenes that I'm not privy to say publicly because I don't want to ruin it for you guys, and I don't have permission to say it out. But it is cool. And we've also got information recently that Batman vs Superman is getting an IMAX version with potential additional scenes, potentially. In theory, maybe. It's a bit skeptical, but yeah, they're essentially like doing an IMAX version, so the ratios will be much fuller. So the nightmare scene, Zack Snyder's already revealed images, so the nightmare scene in that, the depth will be much higher, and you're about to see the shots perfect. So if this video was edited correctly, you would have seen right at the start of the video, we inserted a clip where Zack Snyder said early next year there's going to be some announcement that's going to make your mind absolutely blow. This movie is so different to the movie that was released theatrically in 2017. If you watched the whole of Grace Randolph's Beyond the Trailers video with Zack Snyder, you watched him going over some scene where he didn't even know what was going on, to the point where he's like, no, my Ray Fisher cyborg actually flew in, he didn't walk. So it's the point where he doesn't even recognize his own movie, which tells you the theatrical movie release of the Snyder Cut and also the HBO Max release is going to be so different. It's going to blow your minds, guys. It's so cool. I really can't wait to cover more and more of this stuff when information comes out in January, when they release the actual release date. We're only going to presume it's January because he says in the next coming weeks we're going to lock in the release date and lock in more details and drop a trailer, and it's going to blow your minds. All my Snyder fans on this channel that are very supportive over the last 5 years, your minds are going to get blown when Zachary Snyder does drop more information. But we've got to give full credit to Grace. If she didn't interview Zach, we wouldn't get these new tidbits. We wouldn't know there's a new trailer coming soon. We wouldn't know they're going to lock the release date. We wouldn't know that Wonder Woman is like the thing that pieces everything together. So you got to give credit to Grace. I know Grace gets a lot of stick on Twitter and stuff, but you got to give props to her because she does come out with some great interviews with Zack Snyder. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram at Warstu if you want to see what Warstu looks like. Also check us out on Twitter at WarstuG. We're trying to grow that. Also check us out on twitch.tv/Warstu. And I will be streaming a lot more on YouTube. We're going to do one stream a week at least, and we're going to call it Warstu Talks or Warstu Cast. I think Warstu Talk sounds a lot better. So like always, guys, at the 100,000 subscriber mark, I will be giving away something that is so damn cool, just to say thank you to guys. We are about 1,500 subscribers away from it. So when we get closer, probably sub 500, I will let you know exactly what the giveaway is and exactly how I will pick the winner. So like always, guys, please like, subscribe and comment. I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch ya later.